Hey guys, jumping into a brand new chapter today and a really good one. One that helps us to understand good, practical advice about the way we live life every single day. Listen on in today.
Welcome to Everyday Truth with Kurt Skelly. We believe the Bible is true and relevant to everyone, everywhere, every day. If today's conversation is a help to you, take a moment to leave a review or share it with a friend. Thanks for listening. Now, let's join Kurt for today's episode.
Hey friends, welcome back. Brand new chapter today, Proverbs chapter 6. And this is a great chapter from the standpoint of just good, practical life advice. Remember that Proverbs is a book of principles, things that are generally true as we follow them. And these are 5 great topics today that I think apply to every one of us. And I want to start by beginning at verse 1, where it says, "My son, if thou be surety for thy friend, if thou hast stricken thy hand with a stranger, thou art snared with the words of thy mouth, thou art taken with the words of thy mouth." So what in the world does this mean? Surety for your friend and stricken thy hand and snared with your words. What is all this talking about? Well, it's talking about the unwise practice of co-signing loans for other people, like guaranteeing that other people are going to pay their debts by putting your word to their obligation. And that's a very unwise thing to do. And what the Bible is teaching here is that if you've done that, now what you've done is you've placed your entire reputation in a place outside of your control. Because now this person who doesn't pay their bills, or this person that doesn't meet their obligations, it goes against your record. And the underlying principle is here is this, and that is that God places a very high value on your word. God places very high value on your reputation, which rests upon your word. So why would you allow your reputation and your word to be hijacked by somebody else's behavior? So when the Bible says here, that if thou be surety for thy friend, if thou hast stricken thy hand, that was just an expression for the way you would shake hands to bind a contract. Thou art snared with the words of thy mouth, thou art taken with the words of thy mouth. In other words, you have put your word out there now you have sworn to your own hurt. Now you have obligated yourself, and that's going to be a really dangerous thing. So what do you do if you have given your word about something that you shouldn't have given your word about? What do you do if you've obligated yourself in a way that you should not have obligated yourself? Well, the Bible tells us here, verse number 3, "Do this now, my son." So first of all, recognize how unwise that is, that you have now allowed your word to be based upon somebody else's character. That's an unwise thing. Remember, God always bases his character upon his own word. That's what makes a person trustworthy, the veracity of his word. That's why the very first thing that you ought to teach your children is keep your word. Be truthful. I find it interesting in James chapter 5, James says, "Above all things, swear not, neither by heaven, neither by the earth, neither by any other oath, but let your yea be yea, and your nay, nay, lest you fall into condemnation." In other words, the most important thing you can do, said James, is keep your word. Keep your word. Interesting that when the Apostle Paul was writing the church at Ephesus, the book of Ephesians, when he got to the practical section of the book, Ephesians chapter 4, the applicational section of the book, and he talked about some behaviors that ought to characterize the local church, the very first thing he said was, put on the new man, stop lying, tell the truth. So you see how one's word is a paramount obligation and character trait that God expects of his children. So if you've allowed your word in the sense of co-signing for somebody else to be hijacked by someone else's behavior, boy, you better take care of that quickly. So it says here in verse number 3, do this now, my son. So there needs to be an urgency about how you deal with this bad decision. Deliver thyself. When thou art come into the hand of thy friend, go, humble thyself, and make sure thy friend. So get out of that obligation. Just humbly, quickly, urgently, go to that friend. Said, I've made a bad choice. I should not have done this. And may I please be released from this obligation? You can't just say, I'm not going to do it anymore. That would be you not keeping your own word. No, you've obligated yourself. So now you've got to go and humble yourself and do what you can to extricate yourself from a very unwise decision. Look at verse number 4. Give not sleep to thine eyes, nor slumber to thine eyelids. So this is the same topic. Don't dilly-dally. Don't sleep on it. Don't put it off. Don't wait until tomorrow. And this is how urgent it is that you take care of the situation expeditiously. Verse number 5, deliver thyself as a roe from the hand of the hunter. So just like a hunter stands in that deer blind or in that tree stand and waits for that deer to come by to kill it with that bow or with that rifle. So that's what you are. You are like prey. You are at any moment going to put yourself in a really bad situation. So deal with this as quickly as you can. And as a bird from the hand of the fowler. Now, so verses 1 through 5 really deal with that one topic, and that is be really, really careful about co-signing for someone else's loan. I'm not saying that a parent should never help out a child, but understand this. When you co-sign for a loan, basically what you're saying is, I am willing and able, and the lender, the bank or whomever, is looking at you as you are able by yourself, regardless of what this person's ability is, to satisfy the payment of that loan yourself. So unless I'm willing to pay that whole loan myself without complaint, then I probably ought to find a way to back out of it by humbling myself and going back to that person. Look at verse number 6. Go to the ant, thou sluggard, consider her ways and be wise. So verses 6 through 11 is a different topic altogether. The topic here is just work ethic and not procrastinating and being diligent. And what Solomon does is he uses a lesson from nature about the ant. And what's interesting is ants are everywhere. Ants are in Israel, ants are here in the United States. I mean, everyone knows what ants are, and everyone knows that when you see an ant, you see a busy creature doing something. And boy, it's an interesting study when you study ants and how they basically know where they're going based upon the sun in some cases, and how they're what they can do just in engineering, the strength they have. I mean, there's just so much there. And the Bible says, go to the ant. In other words, consider the ant. Thou sluggard, consider her ways and be wise. Learn from her. And the Bible says, which have no guide, overseer, or ruler. So the point that Solomon makes is ants are diligent. Ants work hard. Ants don't procrastinate, even though there's nobody, quote unquote, telling them what to do. Nobody looking over their work. No one making sure they follow through. Nobody guiding them along the way. They just have individual initiative, individual effort, individual diligence. They're non-procrastinators. Verse 8, they provide their meat in the summer and gather food in the harvest. So they know how to work hard in one season to prepare for another season. They're able to look down the road and make decisions today that are going to be so effective tomorrow. These are really good life lessons to learn. In fact, verse number 9, the question to the procrastinator is this: how long wilt thou sleep, O sluggard? I mean, how long are you going to procrastinate? How much longer are you going to toss and turn in that bed? When are you going to get up? When wilt thou arise out of thy sleep? And here's the excuse the sluggard uses. Here's the excuse every procrastinator uses. Verse number 10, yet a little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to sleep. Oh, I'll be there in a moment. 5 more minutes. Let me just hit the snooze alarm. I know I need to get that done. I'll do it tomorrow. I'm just so busy. I'm just not in a good mental state today. I'll get around to it. That's the same old excuse. Just a little sleep, a little folding of the hands. Just give me a few more minutes, another couple days. Look at verse 11. So shall thy poverty come. Why? Because that kind of an attitude is a habitual attitude that will only bring you to ruin. Because procrastination is not about today. A person that says, well, I'll do it tomorrow. No, the point is not, I'll do it later. The point is not that tomorrow it might get done. The point is that is your life habit. The fact is you are a procrastinator. So there will always be a can to kick down that road. There will always be this false notion that tomorrow will be better. Always. And the Bible says that kind of attitude will bring you to poverty. So shall thy poverty come as one that traveleth. It's very dangerous to travel back in these days. And it would be a place where you could put yourself at risk because of roadside highwaymen. And your poverty will come as one that traveleth, and thy want, your need, as an armed man, like you're being ambushed, like that man on the Jericho road that the Good Samaritan came and helped. Why? Because you've just not made good decisions. So what have we learned today? We've learned, hey, guard your word. Don't be careful about co-signing or obligating yourself based upon another person's behavior. And work hard. Take care of your own business. Don't put things off. Be diligent. Don't have to be the kind of person that only works or does or meets a deadline when somebody is holding your feet to the fire or looking over you. No, be the kind of person with initiative and diligence and non-procrastination that just gets the job done. Good practical advice. So we'll stop there in verse number 11. We'll come back to a brand new topic in this chapter next episode. Hope you'll join us for that. Until then, God bless you, my friends.